Hello YouTubers. I've been asked how I do my protecting my tomatoes and fruit from birds. Actually, there's a hummer sitting right there, if you see right now, on my tomato cage, but I don't worry about him. But the other birds will eat the fruit, and they love to peck on all of them instead of just one. So I have two different types of bird netting here. The bird netting on the left is typical of what you can find in any big box stores. And it's secured with PVC cages, and then I put sunscreen on the top. Basically, the sunscreen is to keep the tomatoes from growing through the bird netting, and that means basically once it goes through, you can't use it another year. I usually get at least 2 years, maybe 3 years out of bird netting. It costs $7 per net from the big box stores. On the right, I have mosquito netting, and the nice thing about mosquito netting is it actually can protect your veggies from insects as well as birds. Now, if the insects are already in the soil, then obviously that's not going to keep them, but it will keep external insects from coming in. I always start out with my metal cages and then a metal rod to hold them up, and that's how I begin the season. I put down irrigation hoses under the mulch, and then put mulch on top, and that's better for watering than spray irrigation, which can introduce diseases. This shows the equipment I use when I'm setting up my tomatoes. This is the 12 by 12 or foot square tomato cage. I wish it was bigger, but I've had these for 20 years. This shows how they fold up very nicely. I use the this garden tie tape, and I just carry it in my pocket all the time to tie the tomato limbs and secure them to the cages, the metal cages. You can get these cages, the Texas tomato cages are probably some of the best, but this shows some you can get which are 16 inches squared. As you can see, I use a lot of clothespins. This is the sunscreen that I use on top. Again, I use that to keep the tomatoes from growing into the bird netting. I use, these are the irrigation hoses, 1/4 inch irrigation hoses that I use under the mulch. I use a level to keep things straight because I like to see them nice and orderly. This shows one of the tops, all made up. As you can see, this is a 22 by 24. The three ways are really important here in that they make it easy in order to get the net over the top of the cages easily. I always use 3/4 inch pipe, PVC. My neighbor tried with 1/2 inch and it was just too flimsy. I use the caps that you can get at the big box stores, but I actually like the internal domed end caps, furniture grade, and you do have to put these in with the PVC cement, but that makes it a whole lot easier, the installation of the vertical pipes. This is bird netting. You can get it at the big box stores or Amazon. These are the clips that I use to secure the tops, as you can see here. And I put a piece of plastic underneath to protect the bird net from the clips. And you can get those on Amazon. I don't think I've seen those anywhere in the big box stores. This shows basically how we open up the bird net in order to gain access for picking. I always secure it at one point so that I can get into it. This shows basically these tomatoes would have been pecked by the birds if I didn't have the net on there. And this shows the access that I leave on one side so I can open it up. I draped the, these are 14 by 14 foot bird nets, which you have to drape around in order to get them to fit. Before I put the posts in the ground, I always use a pattern so that I can beat these half-inch rods into a hole, and then it makes it a whole lot easier to get the 1/4 or 3/4 inch PVC in after I have the half-inch rods in the ground. These are my blackberries, Wachita blackberries, and since they're not quite ready yet, why I don't have the nets over them. You can see here how I use the green tape to secure my blackberries as well. This is a blueberry that would have been eaten already if it didn't have a bird net over it. Now this, you notice I don't have any sunscreen over the top of this because I don't have to worry about the blueberry growing into the net like I do with the tomatoes, especially the indeterminate tomatoes. This is a freestanding PVC, and the nice thing about that is it's easy to erect. It takes no time at all. The bad thing is probably it's a little bit more susceptible to the string trimmers getting into the bird net. I also have a third option, which is when you have a permanent installation, I use permanent pipes in the ground and with caps on them so that they stay open and clean through the winter, and then I just pop the caps off and put the vertical pipes in, and it's very, very fast. Well, I hope this helped you a little bit with understanding how to prevent birds from getting into your garden, and good gardening, and have fun. Thank you.